every one of those individuals is surrounded by somebody who loves them. That's where Families for Addiction Recovery comes in. Could be somebody's child, somebody's sibling, somebody's aunt, uncle, parent. Our organization focuses on the people who take care of people who use substances problematically. So family members, particularly our focus has been on parents being supported. FAR supports the parents who have children who struggle, because at the end of the day, no matter what age their child is, it could be a 35-year-old, could be a 14-year-old, they're still their child. And that parent is still going along with that child on their journey that can be quite destructive and upsetting, obviously upsetting for the family, for them to watch this journey and for them to try to seek services and supports for their loved one. And so that's where Families for Addiction Recovery comes in. We realize that there's a lack of supports and services for those family members who care for people who struggle with problematic substance use. And so we said, we know what it's like because we've all lived it. All our parents, people who work for us, we're all volunteers primarily, and we know what it's like because we've had that journey. We know and we understand the journey that those family members go through, and it's extremely isolating. The majority of us use drugs. Alcohol's a drug, over-the-counter medication is a drug, Tylenol's a drug, caffeine's a drug. We all use drugs. The question is whether it has impacted our life to the extent where our life is sort of consumed by the use of drugs rather than us using the drug to help us. It's more problematic use would be somebody who stops at nothing to get access to the drug because it makes them feel good. People use drugs for a reason. That's a very important thing for people to appreciate, is that they're not doing it because they're bad people. They're not doing it because, it's just they're bored or, they just are struggling with, well, actually, that's exactly it. They're struggling with something, be it mental illness, be it trauma, be it genetic. There's a 40 to 60% chance that if you've had that in your familial tree, that you may be, the carrier or the next person in your family to struggle with that. We've created this organization in 2016. And in 2018, we launched a parent support program. And from there, so that's a one-on-one program. As you mentioned, we have 3 types of supports for parents. And now it's expanded into family caregivers. So it's not just parents, right? Because it could be siblings taking care of their sibling who has an addiction. But the one-on-one is very popular. It has been running since 2018, and we collect amazing data for that. We match somebody who reaches out to us, match them with a trained parent, peer volunteer, who then will, just basically have a conversation with them. So up to 8 conversations. These are all done by phone. And, what that offers the parents is an immense amount of hey, I'm not alone on this journey. I'm less isolated. Somebody can listen to me who's not going to judge me and who's not going to tell me you've got to do this, because who needs to be told what to do in this journey? What they need is to be heard and to say, I know what that's like. That's kind of an awful journey you're going through, and I've been there. And what are you doing for yourself? The self-care component is huge for caregivers, and caregivers often forget that. So that's one of the supports we offer. There's also group support. If they don't want one-on-one, they can call into a group 4 times a month. All our services, by the way, are free. And then there's one-on-one phone calls, which are 5 times a week. So 10 hours of the week is offered, where somebody who may have missed the group or doesn't have a peer supporter yet can just call in and say, hey, I'm having a rough patch with my son right now. Can you listen to me? So those are all our free services at this time. You hit the nail on the head there with the word stigma. Stigma is probably the largest barrier that caregivers have, and the actual person who is struggling with problematic drug use as well. They think they're not worthy. The people who use think they're not worthy of getting the care and love that they deserve or that they need to be able to turn things around. And the parents or the family caregivers believe that it's so stigmatized that they don't want to be judged. They don't want to say, this is what's happening with my family member, because people think that they've done something wrong. You haven't done, as a parent or family caregiver, you haven't done anything wrong. We've got to look at, not just treating the addiction, but also treating the underlying causes, mental illness, mental health challenges, trauma, genetics, personality traits too. I think what we're really talking about, Kate and I, is the shame. The shame that we think we've done something wrong. Look at us, look at our, in quotations, bad kid. They're not bad, they're sick, right? And so we carry as caregivers that shame until somebody says to us, but it's not your fault. And you didn't do anything to cause this. And sadly, you can't cure it either, but we can give you some skills to make your life better. And when a parent's life or a caregiver's life is a little bit better, their life becomes a little bit more manageable. Guess what? The child responds to that. Not always, but they do, because the parent has learned new skills to be able to cope, new skills to be able to support their loved one using. For example, like a skill is to not be angry with them, because it's not their fault. What does anger do? It doesn't help the situation at all, right?